Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing slash unpackaging to share with you guys. I don't know exactly what's in here. Something tells me it's a Sencut. I guess we'll find out when we open it up. Thanks so much to Sencut, I have to assume, for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. And please, make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Okay. Let's see what we've got. This actually came in that package with all the Wii stuff. So I just figured it would be probably best to do its own video because the other knives in there there was a reason to do them on their own as well. So what we have here is, here we go, the Jubil gray G10 handles satin finished D2 blade. Okay. Or at least I assume that's how we're going to pronounce it. So, let's see. This, obviously, if this is available, I will link it right down in the description. So if you want to check this out, use the link in the description. It does help my channel when you guys use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Okay, so this is a little guy. Sorry, let me put my unboxing tool away. This is just a little guy. Little tiny thin-framed front flipper. We have... the whole clip is decent until we get to the bill. The bill is just way too much. The same thing I've been complaining about. No pocket clip position for lefties. Not at all. We just have a single screw on the other side. So this is peel ply textured G10 on top of a stainless steel liner. Little tiny front flipper here. But, you know, a nice blade shape. Honestly, this has a really classic look about it. I mean, almost like a, what do they call it, like a penknife? Yeah, kind of. The action is good. And something that is almost always present on a knife like this is lock stick. And that's not the case. I don't know if it's because the tang geometry and the lock face geometry on these, I mean, they have such little room to work with that you just end up, I mean, like, I'm thinking like the CRKT CEO, those things always have lock stick. I mean, they work themselves out, right? Okay, so right off the bat, as part of my first impression duties, I don't think that a super skinny frame is a good idea in combination with, I don't think a front flipper is a good idea in combination with a super skinny frame. Because if you're like me, when you go to front flip a knife, you sort of cat's paw the rest of it, right? I mean, you obviously can't hold it like this because you're blocking the blade in. But you go to cat's paw, and you can see that I can get it, right? But it leaves you with a little bit of an awkward hand position, and I'm less than confident when hanging on to this thing. I'm already much more likely to accidentally throw or drop a front flipper because the movement is not, you know, super duper organic versus something like a thumb stud or a flipper tab or a little thumb hole, right? So a wider frame makes it a little easier because when you're cat's pawing it, you have more to hang on to. This, you're in a super narrow spot. So when I go to front flip it, I'm holding it like this, which is just weird. And then I'm finding that little ledge there. And listen, you can do it, but you're more likely to throw it in this position. And I also feel like I'm more likely to accidentally, because my hand is like desperately looking for something to hang on to, you know, while I'm closing it. So I'm, you know, subconsciously, like unconsciously, I guess, moving my fingers into the blade path. So this is D2 and G10 with just simple liners. It is undoubtedly going to be a very inexpensive knife. I mean, I would have to assume this is under $40. I mean, if it's not, I don't know what they're doing, right? But I would have to assume that that's actually the case. The fit and finish all the way around is very good, and the detent is good. The lockout also feels very good. I mean, everything that you would expect from a Sencut knife, which is essentially the new Civivi, and Civivi's moving into like this, Civivi has ascended, right? They have become, you know, a more awakened being, right? So they're not making knives in the sub $40 territory. Sencut is, which, you know, honestly, their business model, I think, kind of makes sense as long as they're delivering in these different territories. As long as Sencut is doing, you know, these $40 knives ish, and Civivi's actually delivering something extra for that, you know, upper tier. I think they've really tend to enjoy the sort of $60 to $80 territory, sometimes a little higher. Let's go ahead and measure this thing. Yakking on. So the overall length of this guy, the Jubil, not big. 6 3/4 inches. Blade length is 3 inches on the dot. Cutting edge is 2.75. I think maybe we should do just a couple of size comparisons. Ontario Rat Model 1. Let's do CJRB Pyrite. Let's do smaller stuff since this is a smaller knife. There it is up against the Ontario Rat Model 2. How about the Civivi Elementum? And we'll do the Spyderco Para 3, I think would probably be the best. So yeah, it's, I mean, coming in a similar length to a lot of these. I mean, it's still a little shorter. It's just super duper narrow, right? Or super duper skinny. Yeah, I mean, it's not like insanely skinny. Let's weigh it real quick. Real quick. And we'll wrap it up here. I'm sure the thing weighs 1.5 ounces, 1.75 ounces. Oh man, I was so close that time. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, and this is a bias, but it's really hard for me to find a super duper skinny pocket knife aesthetically appealing. I like this blade shape, and I think this blade shape is definitely, I mean, if you're gonna do a super skinny, tiny little knife like this, I think this type of blade shape works best. I mean, I guess, should we call this a Wharncliffe? It's got a dropped nose and it goes straight out, like the blade is almost perfectly straight. I don't know. I'm sure there's a better word for it. And in fact, there's almost always a blade shape that I'm forgetting, especially when we get into more of this like traditional aesthetic. There's almost always like a weird blade shape that you don't see as much that I always forget about. But I think this is probably the right blade shape. And again, I don't have any issues with the build quality or the materials. I hate this super crazy pocket clip. And on this design, it's especially bad because it's half the body length and you already have such little ergonomic room. I mean, this isn't a knife that I would say is like an ergonomic masterpiece. It's meant to, you know, have like a certain aesthetic appeal, right? It's the lines are not necessarily meant to accommodate for the human hand as much as they are the human eye for people who find this design appealing. But the pocket clip is really just a slap in the face. I mean, that's just a huge, it takes up, I mean, a huge, I mean, the narrow frame, any pocket clip is going to take up a bunch of the space this way. But lengthwise and like this huge bill sticking up here, it's honestly also kind of in the way while you're front flipping it. Access to the liner lock, it's okay. They carved it out a little bit. Again, it's just like everything feels so pinchy. This does not feel like a design that is meant to be operated via a front flipper. I mean, you can do it, but I don't have a lot of confidence while I'm doing it, and it's not very comfortable. But if you really like teeny tiny little front flippers, then, you know, this might be your cup of tea. I don't know. Either way, I'll link it down in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to. This will get a full comprehensive review a few weeks from now. Probably not one that I'm going to prioritize. A lot of you will have gotten the information you need from this unboxing, which is part of the reason I do the content this way. So, you know, check it out. Don't check it out. It's entirely up to you. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.